A non-profit organisation is bridging the divide between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. It's called Circles for Reconciliation, and they want to invite Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples around the table for hard conversations, hoping to combat harmful stereotypes and build understanding. Ingrid Dewan is the co-founder of Circles for Reconciliation. Good morning, Ingrid.
Good morning.
Lena Tetro is the social media outreach coordinator for Circles for Reconciliation, and she is also Métis. Good morning, Lena.
Good morning.
And Dami Cole is their project coordinator. Welcome, Dami.
Thank you.
Ingrid, can we just start with you, just because you had such a role to play in creating this? What was your vision for this project?
When we started, I actually had my own consulting firm. So I came in when the two other partners were looking for someone to help. So our vision, it's not just myself, is to put people together, Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, to pursue reconciliation. And we had to educate more people because the calls to actions, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, it's not well known out there. So that's what we do. So we just keep informing people and putting people together. And our vision was actually at the beginning was to have 100 circles, but we surpassed that long ago. And we have a queue waiting of 1,500 non-Indigenous people, which is quite large for our small organization.
Lena, what drew you to this organization? Why did you want to get involved?
So I actually found out about it through my mother. She met with some of the people from Circles at an event in Winnipeg, and she was telling me about it and how they were looking for someone to do social media and a photographer for our National Indigenous People Day event. So I looked up Circles and I was really interested in what they were doing, and I thought it was such a strong message and very needed. So I had a call with Ingrid, and just hearing about it from her, I knew that this was something I wanted to get involved in and something I felt I could help with and be a part of that.
Dami, you're not Indigenous. Yes. So tell me a little bit about your background and what drew you to this organization.
Thank you. So I would start by saying it was curiosity. That was first something that drew me to the organization. A newcomer in Canada. I've been in Canada for less than 5 years.
From where?
From Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. Basically, when I got into Canada, one of the newest conversations or earliest things I heard was the fact that, there are this set of people, the Indigenous people. You need to be very careful of them. Probably if you are on a bus, maybe try not to sit close to them. If you see them, just be very careful. That was it. But, I got curious about it. And even to a large extent, I really never actually met them to a large extent. But, this kind of stereotype was something that I kept on hearing for maybe my first 1 to 2 years. And then just about 3 years ago, I was doing a bit of research about some organizations, non-profits, because I also have a bit of non-profit background. And then I saw the Circles for Reconciliation online. And at that point in time, there was an opening for a circle coordinator, I recollect. And then I applied. I said, okay, let me just be curious. And then the journey started from there. And I got to know that, it's very terrible. This kind of stereotypes needs to, and that's why that has actually been something that has driven my passion towards the work with the organization.
So where were you getting this message from, these stereotypes? Who was telling you that?
Different people.
Okay.
I'll tell you that even the people that probably even said those stereotypes never actually experienced some of these things. But possibly what somebody else had said it to them, somebody has said something to them. And so maybe friends that were already here, maybe family that were already here, and even just people. That's,
Lena, when you hear Dami sharing some of the kind of stereotypes that he was told about Indigenous people, as someone from the Indigenous community, as a young Métis woman, how does that make you feel? What's your instant emotional reaction to that?
Well, it's very tough to hear, but unfortunately, it's not something uncommon. During our facilitator training, even a lady was sharing about how when she was coming to Canada, the immigration officers in her home country told her not to come to Manitoba because we have such a high Indigenous population. So seeing how our stereotypes are not just hurting our people in our country, but it's coming at an international level. And it's so hard to combat those stereotypes when they're passed down from generation to generation. You have parents who are learning these and who are telling them to their youth, and then they just continue that way. So I feel that our work here and reconciliation in general is very much needed to end those stereotypes, because this harm has been happening for hundreds of years. So it's going to take a while to fix that and deal with that. So we need to keep working at it.
Dami, I was really impressed that you kept using the word curiosity. Like, you were being told these things, but there was something about you, instead of just accepting or believing, you still allowed yourself to be curious, which I think is so important, because often we don't do that about different people. You're both facilitators who have been trained to kind of facilitate these circles. So tell us a little bit about what your role will be.
I haven't been able to facilitate a series of circles myself yet. We have done the facilitator training to understand more of what our facilitators who are volunteers are doing and their work in that. And they do such an amazing job. So I really applaud them for that.
So you've been through this training, which I think is really important, because you are going to be in these spaces where these conversations are going to happen, which might get uncomfortable. People might say things that are harmful based on stereotypes, etc. So can you share a little bit about some of the tools that you've learnt in your training to help navigate some of those conversations, Dami?
All right. So, for us as facilitators, they are not. So we basically have our circles that have 10 participants. That's the 5 non-Indigenous and 5 Finnish participants with 2 facilitators. And the reason for that is to make sure it is equal. That equality is there. So it's not like you're coming to say, oh, this facilitator is seeming unfair to one group, maybe because it's not a part of the group. So at that level, what it brings is that there's that fairness. That's first of all, and we don't actually. It's not a we are right and you are wrong, or we are wrong and you're right kind of thing. So first of all, the facilitators are there to just control the conversation. The facilitators are there to ensure that it is respectful. I'll tell you that one thing that was mentioned during the facilitator training is that you come with your Kleenex.
You come with your Kleenex?
Your Kleenex, because, a lot of people are going to shed tears there.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, it is to end up fostering relationships. So that's the goal. So we know if you sign up to be a part of a circle, you're signing up to say, I want to have a respectful conversation with somebody else. Yeah, I'm not coming in to tell that person that, oh, I hate you. No. It's not a debating society. You understand? It's to foster that relationship. Yeah.
So that's interesting. You have 10 participants in total, 5 who are Indigenous, 5 who are non-Indigenous, 2 facilitators, 1 from each group, so to speak, right?
Correct.
For that fairness. Respect is important. Lena, how do these conversations work? Because it's not just one-off, right? Like, it's an ongoing set of conversations. Tell us a little bit about the format.
Yeah, so we hold circles, and they're about 90 minutes in length, and then they last, so there'll be one circle a week for 7 weeks. And for each week, there's different themes or topics, and we have some of them kind of structured, but we also allow for if a group it really wants to touch on a certain theme or topic and that's not included, we welcome that in because I think that's important to have people wanting to learn more and engaging the participants.
Ingrid, I would love to ask you, because you have been involved with this, like they've been trained, but they haven't done a session yet. So I'd love to get some of your experience. Is there a particular topic that is the kind of the trickiest one to talk about?
There are topics, like there's 29 to 31 themes on the site. And when we started, they were written by scholars, FNM scholars, meaning First Nation, Inuit, or Métis. And those, in all fairness, we just started, and so we are so grateful to have them. But they're written at such a high level that it's hard for the average person to read. Even myself, when I gone to university, like university levels, it's hard to read. So the topics, any one of them could be difficult because it depends on who's in the group. So I can't say one.
Okay.
Right? I'm not in that group, and everything in that group is confidential.
Sure. So what advice would you give to Dami and Lena if someone says something in the group that you just think, oh, there's like this a reaction?
Oh, that's happened.
I'm sure. So I would love to hear about that because
happened.
I think we are all avoiding having these conversations because we don't want to experience that. But it's actually really important to hear that it happened and that you navigated it. So if you could tell us about.
Well, I wasn't in that circle, but there was a circle. It's only happened twice in the circles. One particular circle where a gentleman had said something negative.
Was it a non-Indigenous or an Indigenous?
A non-Indigenous person about the Indigenous people, but the Indigenous person in the circle spoke to him and gave him more information about that topic. And after that, it's the matter of, it's no one's fault. We're not here to blame anyone. It's what not taught in school, right? Even myself growing up, we weren't taught about this. I only learned about it from my parents. We're both residential school survivors. My dad is gone now. So it could be any topic, Nadia, anything, anyone. I can't pick one. But that particular situation that I speak about it was resolved, and those two people became more acquainted. So that's what we want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What do you think we should all try and do? And love to hear from what you've learned in your training and in your experience, Ingrid, when we're trying to have conversations on topics. And we live in such a polarized world right now, such a divided world where people don't even want to hear each other or, So what are some principles that we should all be like utilizing in order to have like some respectful but tricky conversations? I would love to hear from all of you. Go for it, Lena. You first. What do you think is one of the key fundamental things we should do?
I think actively listening to others. People are so set in their own minds, I feel, and they don't want to be disproven. So, like, when you actually get to listen to someone and can reflect on your previous thoughts, I think that shows a lot of strength, and we need more of that.
Great. Dami?
So I'll tell you that, so I'm quite active on Twitter and other social media. And, sometimes I just read conversations and I'll be like, are you guys listening to each other? Because there's always a we versus them.
Yeah.
And it's not always supposed to be like that. It can always be we. I can have a different viewpoint. You have your different opinion. We can come to a middle ground. We can probably also just stick to your opinions and be respectful about that. And that's one thing that is really lacking in the world right now. And that's why I appreciate our work. I mean, you can't be with Circles for Reconciliation and your mindset doesn't change. So some active listening, being able to listen respectfully, air your own opinions, and even if your opinions aren't taken, it's fine. And we can move on and still be friends. So, thank you.
Sounds like such a radical idea, but that's the world that we're living in. Ingrid, what about you? You've had so much experience doing this, and you talked about your own parents being residential school survivors. When someone says something to you that's hurtful, like how do you transcend that emotional, like legitimate emotional reaction you have to really hear what they're saying and try and engage with that in a respectful way?
So part of it is my comedic self. If Grace was here, she would attest to this. A lot of times I would say, you're on Treaty 1 territory, right? And my sister-in-law, and they start laughing when I say that to them, right, or anybody. And sometimes that's what I say. If I'm, being accosted by being followed by a floor walker in a store. That happens every time I go to particular stores. And I just turn around and, or Grace would say she starts following them. Right? So even though our work is very, very serious, right?
Yeah.
But we have to also have that, I don't know what the right word is, lightness, because it can get very, very hard on one's frame and soul and spirit. So I always say, in what you're saying is that, okay, they don't understand. There's a lot of non-Indigenous people that have never spoken to an Indigenous person. Mm-hmm. Like I would go, wow, like I speak to non-Indigenous people all the time, right? Every day. How does that happen? Right? So like no prejudgment. Mm-hmm. We're not here in the circles to blame anyone. It's just we're here to discuss, offer information. And I'd like to add, to Lena and Dami and others in the organization, that's not their main focus is facilitating. When they're out, they're doing lots of different things. I will say myself to okay, today I'm the recruiter, I'm out putting up posters, I'm doing this, and I'm the janitor, right? And I'm the do dishes too. And we all work from home, but Lena does lots of things outside that training doesn't cover what they do. Yeah. It gives them the experience of the circle. An actual circle between these people that are training, and same with Dami. You're not limited to your title, right? Or Lita. It's like, can you do this? And can you do this? Because we're so small. Yeah. So that's my main point is the funding. So reconciliation funding is dropping off the map fast. And this can never drop. This is a forever thing. I mean, I'll be gone, and Grace will be gone, and we need to hand it over. Like I always joke with these guys, lady, one day this could all be yours. So we have to keep moving, right? So it won't end for, like you mentioned, like it's 150 years of what happened, of our children being kidnapped, basically. No one wants to say that, but that's what happened. They kidnapped them and they put them in residential schools. And there's lots of trauma. And so that's why we want others to understand this. There's deniers out there, right? This has happened. And Phyllis, the one that started the Orange Shirt Day movement, she calls it a movement, she just wrote a book. And there are deniers out there. So we need more people, we need to get this back up on the map. And we need our people to come to the circles. I always want to think, do it for the people you love. Right? My mom, I do it for my mom. My dad's gone because she's still alive. And I think of what she shared pieces of what happened in residential school. So we need that to... I don't share that with anyone else until she's, leaves this world someday to the spirit world, right? But that stays with me. And my aunts and my uncles, so there's lots of our people that were in these places. And for the grandchildren and the next set of children. Do you want them to be, racialized? I don't like those little check boxes, right? Right? It's there's lots of people that come to the circles and they're genuine, and that's great, right? I was going to say, in regards to check boxes, when you had to fill out a form and are you a minority? Yeah. No. First People's here, right? Why don't you put that on that form? And it shouldn't be anyone as a minority. It should be a different word.
Yeah.
And I think like reconciliation, we have to up the game, up the word, because it's just become a buzzword, right? Just become this word.
Yeah. For people listening who are interested in being part of Circles for Reconciliation, interested in joining up to one of these sessions, are there events or is there a way for them to sign up? Lena?
So we do hold circles all across the city so that no matter what area you live in, it's accessible. We also have circles on Zoom just to increase that accessibility. We also hold webinars. We have one coming up on the 26th with Sandra Delaron about the calls for justice. So we hold webinars quite often, and those have been very informative and have, I would say, experts in that topic that they're talking about, and their words have just been so powerful. And then we also do our National Indigenous Peoples Day community barbecue.
Yeah.
That's how I've, like I mentioned before, got involved with circles, and it's such a wonderful event. We had so many amazing exhibitors and vendors this year, and we also had a donation from Co-op for hot dog and hamburgers and the buns. And with all the leftovers, all the community members who came, since we had leftovers, they could take that back, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
I've also had the opportunity to work on social media campaigns for us. So right now we're doing the unanswered calls, which focus on calls to action which are not started or have been stalled. Because like Ingrid said before, not a lot of people know the calls to action.
Ingrid, you joked about this one day this will all be yours to Dami and Lena.
Yes.
But I think there is something really powerful about handing this off to the next generation. Like you co-founded this, and you've mentioned Grace. You should Grace is tell us who Grace
Sheffler
is.
is the other co-founder,
Right.
knowledge keeper.
Who just retired.
She retired from Justice,
Oh, okay.
but she's retired from the circles. But she's an honorary member. But she still works with us.
So what's it
All the
like?
time.
What's it like to hand or see the next generation of Winnipegs and Manitobans, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, kind of take on the work that you and Grace and a whole bunch of you started?
It's rewarding. And not to sound corny, but it's going to sound corny. That it's really like a change for society. This is what you're going to take care of. Because we're not going to be here forever, Grace and I. We're going to be gone. And maybe you won't be with the organization, but you'll be out there, right? And this whole experience, Nadia, is really a life-changing experience. That's what I mean about not sounding corny. To be in that circle or to be in a webinar, just to gain some information that you wouldn't have learned in school, right? It's not in those books. But the kindergartens, they're learning now. We've been to elementary schools, wow. It's so nice. It's nice.
And what do you think it is about the power of conversation, power of being in a space together, an
Safe
intimate space? Yeah.
With these people. They get to, it's one-on-one, right? I'm talking to you. You're not Indigenous. Right? And if I could just change something, that's a start. And after these circles are over, it's up to you to continue. And us to continue on with more people. It's like that triple effect, right?
Ingrid,
Yes.
Dami, Lena, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you for
you.
inviting us. It was great.